25, and we're on to day 6. Here in 2 Kings 1 through 4, we find a number of stories about Elijah and Elisha. Now, if you're like me, and I read a lot of serial books, like I like cozy murder mysteries. That may sound a little awkward, but it's true. And so I read the first book, and there's a whole story contained in the first book. And then I read the second book, and there's a whole story contained in the second book. But as I go from book to book, I get to continue to enjoy and read about the same characters and the development in their individual lives. But each book has its own set of stories. Now, when we come to the Bible and we transition from 1 Kings to 2 Kings, it seems a little awkward because we're right in the middle of the story about Elijah and Elisha and their dealings with particularly King Ahab in the northern kingdom of Israel. And so it seems like, okay, we took one story and we divided it between 2 books. But here's the thing that we have to remember. 1 Kings and 2 Kings, all one book. The distinction between the two is that the scripture found in 1 Kings was all that could fit on a scroll when it was written in the original Hebrew. And so that's why we have 1 Kings and 2 Kings. It's based on how they fit on scrolls, not on the fact that they are not indeed one continuing story of the kings of Israel and Judah. So keep that in mind. But here we focus on Elijah and Elisha in these first 4 chapters. A lot of what we see here foreshadows the ultimate ministry of Jesus when he comes in what we call the New Testament and the Gospels. Some of the same miracles that they perform are ones that Jesus will also perform. The work that they do foreshadows the coming of Jesus. In fact, Elijah, in the way in which he is taken up into heaven, God then has a prediction, or if you will, that the prophets tell us that Elijah will return. And it's Jesus who later tells us that, yes, John the Baptist fulfilled that role. And so we see a lot of them fulfilling and foreshadowing the ministry of Jesus when he comes to earth. So it's a nice little pre-look at what we have to come. But these are indeed some of the most powerful stories in Scripture. How 2 men who are dedicated in their faithfulness to God are used by God in powerful ways. Powerful ways. And in some ways, when you look at the results, they may not seem like they were very successful. And yet, they demonstrated a faithfulness that we are called to even today. You know, the power and the miracles that they have, it might seem like something from a bygone time. We don't see a lot of miracles of this type in the world today. And yet, I would defy you to say that there are, in fact, miracles every day in the changing of human hearts, in the dedication that we show to God, that goes against the way the world wants to work. What are the miracles that God might use you to perform, to be instruments of, if we remain faithful to God even now?